I'm just starting the recording. Votes may be taken from these discussions. Not all items may be discussed, and other items may be raised to the extent permitted by open meeting law. Please be advised that the town of Lunenburg utilizes Zoom platform as host for its hybrid and remote meetings. The Zoom platform utilizes AI technology known as AI Companion to create audio transcriptions of meetings to aid in the subsequent preparation of meeting minutes. And the AI Companion is activated immediately upon launching the Zoom application. Okay, I am going to call the meeting to order at 7:51 p.m. and I'm gonna do a roll call. Teddy Doucette,
Aye. Here.
Mike LaRouche,
Present.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Present.
Chris St. Germain,
Here.
and I am present. Okay, we do not have any appointments. Do we have any comments from members of the public? Does not seem like it. Mike, do you mind if I skip the pollinator habitat?
That's fine.
Okay. Minutes to approve. Has everybody read the minutes? I have. I would be, I'm sorry?
Go ahead.
No, what were you gonna say, Mary?
I was going to make a motion to approve the minutes of April 2nd.
Okay, we have a second?
Second.
Roll call, vote. Teddy Doucette. Oh, you weren't here for that, so
Yeah.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
I for myself. Do we have motions for more minutes?
I would make a motion to approve the minutes from 4/16/2025.
Second.
Chris, you were second, okay. Roll call vote, Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
and I for myself. Keep going.
I would make a motion to approve the minutes from May 7th, 2025.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote, Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
and I for myself.
Motion to approve July 16th, 2025.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote, Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
and I for myself.
I did a Mullins on for 8/6, but I did read look at everything by the on the recording, so I'll make a motion for August 6th, 2025 to approve those minutes.
Second.
Roll call vote, Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
I for myself.
Motion to approve the minutes from August 20th, 2025.
Second.
Roll call vote, Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
and I for myself. Want to say Michael sent out the minutes from 9/3. He has set it up so that you can make comments on them if you have any suggestions. And he's doing a great job keeping up with them. So if you can look at them and make comments, then he gets to see them right away rather than in the meeting. All right, new public hearings. We have pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 2 to discuss, wait, no, that's the executive session. Sorry about that. Pursuant to MGL Chapter 131, Section 40 in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaw, we have a public hearing on a notice of intent by the Town of Lunenburg, DPW, for the replacement of the deteriorated culvert to the Northfield Road crossing over Mulpus Brook in order to mitigate further deterioration, prevent potential flooding caused by the existing undersized culvert, and meet the Massachusetts River and Stream crossing standards to the maximum extent practicable. The proposed culvert replacement is a 38-foot, 4-foot diameter precast reinforced concrete pipe culvert with precast head walls at both pipe ends. The proposed culvert will match the existing culvert's alignment. This is at 763 Northfield Road, and it's NOI-25-19. Do we have the applicant or their representative on the call?
Hi, I'm Matt Lundstedt from Comprehensive Environmental here on behalf of DPW.
Thank you for joining us. Do you have any plans or drawings that you would like to share?
I can pull them up if you want. I can briefly describe the project. I just, from a narrative standpoint, I know a few of you attended a site walk.
Yes.
With my engineer Kevin. And he said there weren't too many questions. I think there was a couple which I can address if I'm not sure I wrote them down. If you can remember them, and I'll also go over the DEP Ed comments. They have issued a file number. Do you have that?
I forgot to actually look, but let me. I'm assuming if you're seeing it, it's there, but let me just check.
Yeah, I have it if you want it.
Why don't you go over what their comments are? And what your response, have you responded in writing? And sent it in through OpenGov, what those
I have
comments
not
are?
to
or-
them because I wanted to wait to see if you had any comments.
Okay,
And if there was anything additional we had to address, and I've got to revise plans, I've got to send it to them anyway. DEP file number 208-1358. Do you want me to pull up some plans first and just kind of go over
yeah, that would be great.
the basics?
Yes, please.
Just bear with me. I gotta find the best. The best view. Okay. Can I share? No. Okay, can everyone see that?
Yes.
So this is Northfield Road. This is what they call, I believe, Kelly Pond, the fire pond. There is a hydrant intake. This is a downstream area. This gray line I'm tracing is the, for lack of a better term, the main stem of the brook. It does braid through this kind of wetland area. So it was hard to get a really representative bankful width. But we were able to make it down and find a couple spots where it recombines. There was a little beaver activity. It looked like historical beaver activity that might be what causes the braiding, and then it looks like once in a while it kind of blows back through the main stem here. These, do you need me to go through the shaded area impacts? I don't know if everyone's reviewed the plans. There's some minor impacts to bank and wetlands here where we're regrading, proposing some wetland replication on this corner. The existing culvert is in the same location. As you mentioned, it's a 3-foot diameter pipe. It's a corrugated metal pipe in very bad shape. The concern is that that's gonna fail at some point and the road may wash out. We're increasing to a 4-foot pipe to give a little bit of embedment. I know there was a question from DEP. I can go through it again when we take them in order, but they asked why we wouldn't go bigger. And there's very little what we call headspace above the top of the pipe between the pipe and the road. And the way the inverts upstream and downstream, upstream in the pond and downstream in the brook work, it doesn't make sense to excavate anything because the town needs to maintain that as a fire pond. So if we were putting a deeper structure, because the road's so close to the top of the pipe, we wouldn't be able to go up unless we raise the entire road, which would be a pretty substantial project to get what I'll call minimum wildlife, aquatic organism, and fish passage. The nature of this brook, I'd be very surprised if much fish gets up this way, and seasonally through whatever beaver dam activity may be going on out there. But we are increasing the diameter of the pipe so we can get a little bit of substrate. That'll help micro and macro invertebrates cross. We're increasing the openness ratio, so some of the critters who may be coming up and across the road right now may be more comfortable using the pipe because it's a bigger opening, it's brighter. They feel safer traveling through it. Those are the basics. There's a little ditch that comes in on this side, feeds this pond. Because it's ponded, there isn't significant upstream reference reach to look at the brook. So all our bankful measurements were downstream. And like I said, it's a difficult assessment because when a stream braids like that, breaks up and goes through the wetlands, each little mini channel that forms, you can't add those together to get a bankful width. So it's a challenging site from that standpoint. But that's about it. It's a pretty straightforward project. We can be max extent practical with the Massachusetts stream crossing standards. We actually included the unofficial evaluation form that DEP asks some folks to use. Sometimes it's not in the regs and handbooks yet, but that's the very end of the NOI, the last 3 pages. And that basically compares existing to a couple alternatives. And the punchline is there's little, I'm gonna use a big word here, big term here. I don't know if you guys have heard it. There's little fluvial geomorphic advantage, which is that sediment transport, velocity of a stream, substrate of the stream. There's little advantage between going any bigger than from going existing to the 4-foot diameter. There's very little advantage in going beyond that just because of the nature of the habitat and the resource areas, and it being a fire pond. Hydraulically, we are improving the capacity significantly. historically, in talking to the DPW director, Bill, that it hasn't, he has not seen it overtop. He says it's come close. We didn't see much indication that it had. Normally you'd see some erosion on the downstream bank. You know, where it's overtopped and kind of washed out the end of that pipe. That's about it, unless it might be easier if anyone has specific questions, or I can jump over to DEP's questions and quickly go through those.
Does anybody have any questions so far? Mary?
I didn't see a wetland delineation report in the files that were uploaded.
Thought I did, but I might be thinking of a different.
Maybe. I went through the site plan. Oh, maybe
We did,
the NOI Form 3 has it at the end of it.
we had
Oh,
attachment A in the paper copies that were dropped off that should have been uploaded. There's the field delineation forms.
okay. I'm looking for that. I just opened the NOI PDF. Maybe I overlooked it there.
It's probably, you know what, let me. If I
So
start-
some of the questions that I had though, the 100-foot buffer zones, what are those? Where is it 100 feet buffered from?
This 100-foot buffer would be the wetland flagging up around the banks here. And so it also extends this way across the road. Right? That's why the shape of them are similar. So basically because you've got it on both sides, the whole thing's in buffer zone. Or this whole, at least the project area is.
And it's a wetland buffer zone?
Yes.
I've just never seen it measured across a wetland from a far bank of a wetland before, unless we were like talking about riverfront superimposed over a wetland. That was what I didn't quite understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Be able to find the data forms. He might go into more detail. In that.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a delineation report. Wait. Oh, notification to butters, no. There's soil groups.
So I can if that didn't go.
I found it.
Oh,
Did
okay.
you?
Yeah.
Where
It's
was
at
it?
it's towards the end of the NOI. It starts at page 81.
Ah, okay.
I'm gonna share my screen, or would you like to share that?
I can read it on my own device unless somebody else wants to see it.
So one of the DEP comments is it's asking if the property owner of 763 is aware of the work, and 763, is that not the town? Is that the property behind it or? Cause it's listed under 763 Northfield.
It might be the farm right beside it and behind it.
I'm gonna look that up really quick. I just assumed that was the property. Because the NOI is filed just under Northfield Road, not 763
Right.
Northfield Road. Yeah, it looks like Jessica Santos is the owner for 763. Of, okay, so it says Jessica Santos is the owner of that entire property that that pond is on. According to. Does that sound correct?
It's privately held. I didn't look up who the owner was. They should have been notified.
They were, you said Jessica Santos?
Yeah,
Yeah, she lives in Leominster.
and she's on, let me check the butter
Yeah, she's
notification.
on the couple parcels. 763 and 759.
Okay,
My map says
Yeah.
Jessica Santos, not Sanchez.
Santos, so that's what I said. I think I just mumbled. Yep, and she is on the abutter notification. For at her home mailing address
So
for two properties.
when we're not placing permanent structures, the head wall or the pipe itself in property, and we'll just be potentially putting a coffer dam and doing a little grading on their property. The DPW usually handles that by a temporary grading access agreement. It's not even, it doesn't even get recorded because it's temporary. It's basically a letter that says we're gonna be doing work here. We're putting it back basically to the condition it is, and we'll restore it. Usually it has to do with if they have like a driveway next to it or fencing or that kind of stuff. In this case, because we're just regrading the bank, they prefer to do it by that.
Has that been executed yet?
No, they're not, they do not have construction funding yet. But I'm sure that Bill would entertain that as, you know, if it were a condition of your approval. And if you want, I'll quickly go through the DEP comments now. First comment was, it appears the proposed work would qualify for review as a limited project stream crossing replacement per 310 CMR. The applicant may consider revising that. We understand that, and it's the same amount of work, so we prefer to just leave it. It won't change how we address anything, and we're addressing the performance standards anyway. We found in the past it sometimes creates some confusion because if you dig into the regulation, there's an unfixed comment on having to meet the stream crossing standards fully. So it's kind of a conflict where some places it says you can do a replacement MEP. The other thing it triggers is in certain circumstances you have to do a habitat assessment. So we prefer to just keep it as is, as we've submitted it. The applicant indicates the proposed culvert, comment number 2. The applicant indicates the proposed culvert would slightly overfill the 10-year storm. It misses by 8 inches. Has the applicant considered culvert designs that would not overfill the 10-year storm? Our answer would be there's been no significant history of flooding or overtopping with the smaller culvert. And we're increasing that hydraulic capacity. So we anticipate that condition will improve and still not be an issue. And with the upstream ponded water dependent use for the fire pond, it creates a challenge with opening. The more we open up that crossing, the harder it's going to be to maintain that upstream invert elevation so the pond stays full, basically is the answer. And there's no significant stream functionality in that pond, so there's not really a reference reach upstream where you'd normally consider you know, a narrow for fish or other wildlife. You'd want a narrow shaded channel, overhanging trees, undercut banks, pools and riffles, and sediment transport. And none of that would improves in this case with opening it up. So the other answer, the other thing to note is, while this is not a Mass DOT road, they do classify this road, even though it's not their road, as a local road. And their hydraulic requirement for local roads is the 10-year storm. And we're almost there. So we're almost meeting a pretty big standard like Mass DOT, not that we're required to. Number 3, all the alternatives discussed did not fully meet the stream crossing standards. The applicant should demonstrate why a crossing fully meeting the stream crossing standards cannot be provided. That's basically explained in that form I was talking about. At the end of the PDF of the NOI submission, it's called their the Wetlands Program Replacement Stream Crossing Evaluation Worksheets. And if you read through that, it goes through each of the significant portions of the stream crossing standards, and kind of, even though they're not written into the regulations, they're the performance standards, I'd call them, for streams. And the basic conclusion is there's no advantage to opening it up, and would just increase costs. I understand that the Conservation Commission doesn't consider cost a factor. The DEP form does ask for that information, and it's in there.
Where is it? I mean, you're not going through it and just referring to it. Where is it? Sorry to interrupt, but I would like to understand it.
Where's that form?
Yeah.
It's at the end of the NOI. I think it's page 111 of the PDF.
Uh, 111 on my page reads Northfield Road over an unnamed tributary to Mulpus Brook, with SVAP photo exhibit. That what you're referring to?
What is? I can let me stop sharing this. I can bring it up. It may be the way we submitted through your portal. It doesn't come up the same way.
And apologies to the chair for just shouting out. think I found it on page 126. It's an evaluation worksheet. Is that what you were referring to?
Yes.
I was muted and I didn't realize it. I was like, oh, it's on page 126.
So what we do is this, we compare the existing and go through these, each of the what DEP considers the standards and substandards interpreting the stream crossing standard. This is the one that would fully meet a 6.75 wide span, 3-foot rise box. And alternative 3 is the 4-foot diameter meeting max extent practical. And so we basically just go through each of those standards and talk about why there isn't much of an advantage. The biggest would be the hydraulic capacity, which, as I noted, hasn't been an issue. And there'd be a little bit more wetland impact.
And so that it's easier to understand this, what is Alt 1, Alt 2, and Alt 3?
Oh, one is the 3-foot existing pipe.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Alternate 2 would be a 6.75 foot wide mini box culvert, and then alternate 3 is the proposed 4-foot diameter pipe.
So on alternative 3, it says design storm target 10-year. But the DEP comments seem to think that doesn't target
That's
the
the
10-year
target.
storm.
It's the target, but it just the 4-foot pipe just misses it because because we're putting substrate in the bottom to fulfill another one of the stream crossing standards. So
Okay.
they're in this case mutually exclusive, and which is exacerbated by trying to maintain the upstream invert to keep it at fire pond capacity.
Okay, I think I understand that.
Do
thank-
we have, oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say thank you for helping me find the evaluation criteria.
The comment number 4, Mass DP recommends that all dewatering outfalls be directed towards dissipation device to tame velocities. We're fine with that. Once construction documents are put together, that's always a part of the water handling plan, the conditions the contractor would need to meet in the written technical plan. We usually leave exactly how they do that and where they run the water up to them. Just because we don't want to dictate a spot that may have more impact than something they can do from a construction standpoint. For instance, they may bring in a frac tank and pump into that and then discharge back downstream through something like a filter bag or a small ring of hay bales. I don't anticipate water handling will be difficult at this site just because of the small size of the watershed and the fact that the upstream is an impoundment anyway. It's a pond. But certainly if the commission has a concern and you want to do a special condition for this, that doesn't increase costs or isn't anything we wouldn't normally require the contractor to do anyway. Number 5, should the commission find the project approvable, the commission may consider incorporating conditions in the approved order that include at least a 2-year monitoring period. Steps to ensure the proposed replication in restored areas achieve 75% survival of all planted strata to be considered in compliance, and conditions for the replication in restored areas should they fail. That may include the commission requiring additional measures that ensure function and value of the restored area prior to issuance of a certificate of compliance. And we're fine with that. That's usually the Concons we work with have their own comfortable period. And that's something we can write into the specifications for the contractor under the planting technical specs. And it's not unusual. And then number 6, has the applicant obtained permission from the property owner? And as I pointed out, we didn't, we don't, the town doesn't need an easement to do this work because they don't have they're not putting permanent structures on the property. It's just grading. We normally handle those by temporary access easement. It's not an easement. It's basically an agreement, a letter agreement, that both the town and the homeowner sign, that understanding that will require the contractor to put everything back to the plan as it's shown, make sure it's planted. And like I said, it usually has to do with, it's closer to the projects are closer to their home. They're, they may have to rip out their sidewalk or part of their driveway, and it's just that we'll put that back when we're done to the same or better condition. So, if the commission wants to would want to entertain that as a condition, that's not an obstacle. That shouldn't be an issue to the project.
Okay, do we have any other questions from members of the commission? Mary?
Did we get any advice from Herlin on this one?
We did not. She's sick. And she's been
Oh,
sick for the
that's too
last
bad.
2 days. So we don't have any notes from her. Oh, actually, well, let me check the OpenGov. Because she may have thrown something in there. No notes in here, unfortunately. Do we have any other questions from members of the commission? Doesn't appear so. As far as the wetland replication, I'm seeing the wetland replication outline. There's no, like, where it's going to go. Is there a plan for what will be going in there? Am I missing that? Like a list or?
Great question. I am not seeing any planting proposed on you see where it's proposed, right? In the
Yeah,
in the corner there. We say well, this isn't written correctly. It says 1 foot layer of New England wetland wet mix or approved equal. I think what the engineer, I think what he means is 1 foot layer of hydric soils with, right now, we're just proposing the inland wet mix. It's a pretty small, it's a pretty small area. But it's up to, if you look at the area, there's not a lot going on there in terms of plant diversity. I think if we plant New England wet mix, if the competing wetland species don't like that, I think they'll take over pretty easily. I don't know if you went on the site walk. It's
I did,
it's lush.
yeah.
So if you've got any thoughts, we're fine with, you know, I'm not the plant person or the wetland scientist. But our wetland scientist, Bob, must have thought just New England wet mix for such a small area would be fine. If you want some more, you know, some shrubs or other plantings, we'd be fine with that. It's not, the area's so small, it's not gonna break the budget that they don't have yet anyway. They haven't funded this for construction, so.
Mary, you have your hand up?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The square footage of the replication area, is that 1-for-1 for the permanent disturbance, or 2-for-1, or what's the ratio there?
Are you asking me or the applicant?
Well, the applicant through you
Okay.
is the protocol.
So we have 15 square feet of permanent BVW loss. And we're proposing,
30 is what the drawing says.
yeah. We're proposing 30 square feet, the 2-to-1.
Okay. And you know, I'm certain that I can find it, but what is the proposed erosion control measures?
We are showing. We are showing staked compost filter tube. And that is, just make sure we show it. That is at each, at all 4 quadrants below where we'll be disturbing earth to regrade. That's shown on sheet C2. If you want, I can pull it up if you want.
That would be great. Thank you.
Be great.
Everyone see that? So these are the erosion controls. Proposed erosion controls. Fourth corner.
And what are those again?
Needed, sorry.
What are those again?
Compost filter tubes, that's, these. The filter sock.
Okay.
We find it conforms to the topography better. Sometimes digging in silt fence for such a small project on a side slope is more of a disturbance. Causes more of a disturbance than this filter sock. It's much easier to maintain and replace if they damage it. We get better reaction times, I'll call it. It's easier to stockpile it, more of it on site too, and it's pretty commonly used, and you can purchase it in a lot of places.
And where is your limit of work? You help me find that on the
So limit of work
App-
would be
application
that-
package.
Would be that that same the erosion control line. We wouldn't be working beyond those.
Does it actually say that anywhere on the drawing? Notes somewhere,
Mm.
something?
It might. It may be in our. These. Somewhere. These notes. It's certainly, we could add that to the plan where we, if you look, where we call out the proposed linear sediment erosion controls, we could just add and limit of work.
Okay, that'd be, for one, I would like to see that, and I would like to see a limit of work that is, right now where the erosion, just looking at it as erosion control barriers, it makes sense. But it's not, if I were looking at it as a limit of work, it's disconnected. So maybe not as much sense there. But that could be annotated. I don't think I'm super picky about how I want it there. I just want something there so that we have clear expectations about the limit of work.
Sure.
And if there are any misunderstandings, there's something we can all point to about why we expected what we expected.
Yeah, I can shade that and make sure where it is along the erosion controls, it follows those lines. I'll have him shade it.
So there's a call out in the plan that shows a limit of work is shown in Appendix A.
Oh, I think I believe Appendix A is probably these plans. So unless I'm missing it, it's not.
Okay,
I don't think it's clear that it's the erosion control line and, some connectivity between them. In the road, this rectangle is the limit of work within the road, so. We basically probably draw it across the road just to connect the ends of these. I think it'd be easy to shade it, but I like that idea because then it's clear. Like you said, if the contractor ends up outside it in the wetland, it's easy to see.
okay. Mary, you have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I feel like this is fairly straightforward, what they want to do and how they want to do it. I don't think that we're allowed to give permission for them to work on somebody else's property, right? So not having the permissions in hand today in some sense would keep me from wanting to approve today. And then I also am concerned about the way the 30, 50, and 100 are drawn. It doesn't make sense to me that they would be like drawn from it seems like they're drawn into the wetland. And I would like to have a better understanding of that before I could approve. And then I would also be looking to see the limit of work spelled out as discussed. Then that's just my opinion as one commissioner.
I agree with all of that. I was looking at the wetland itself, that's called out on Mass Mapper. And it appears to be slightly different than what we're seeing on the plan. So I would also like to understand that better. So I think, would you like to make a motion to continue and ask for permission from the parcel owner?
I would be happy to do that, Madam Chair, but with my question about the wetlands, I would like to know if the applicant's representative is clear on what's confusing to me about the 30 and the 50 and the 100. They seem to be inverted, right? So the 30 foot
Yeah.
is actually in the
Yeah.
pond.
Yes. You're correct.
And that the
Um,
same thing seems to be true on the
yeah,
other side. It
right.
seems to be
They'll
in the
end up-
wetland off of the bank.
They'll end up in the other. Like this line will end up over here somewhere in the other resource.
That would make sense to me.
Yes, they've drawn them backwards.
Okay, thank you.
We'll fix
Yeah, I
that.
would like to get that confirmed or corrected.
Yes, we'll fix that. We'll fix the shading on the limit of work. Um. Is. Because the temporary access agreements are not a legally recorded registry device, are signed letters from both butters going to be enough?
That would be fine for me.
DPW does it when they're gonna go to construction.
It would be fine for me. I just, you know, I would need something that I could point to say that I did not give you permission to work in somebody else's property. You
Sure.
came to me with, you know, something that was represented as permission that should the project be funded, that the property owners have permitted it.
Good, okay. I can talk to Bill about that and get those together. That will be determining when we'll be back in front of you. Those don't always get executed in a timely manner.
Okay, do we have any other questions from members of the commission? Do we have?
Madam Chair, I
Yes.
would just say that if Bill, you know, comes back to us with some other regulatory statute that gives us more leniency about having property ownership in hand now, I certainly would be willing to entertain that, right? But as I understand, our obligations right now is we cannot permit work on somebody else's property without that permission in hand.
Okay,
Yeah.
duly noted. Oh, Mike, you have your hand up.
Yes, can we also include getting Harlan to give her thoughts on the project as well, to include that?
I will send her a message and let her know that we would like her thoughts on
Yep.
this. She was planning on being here tonight,
Okay,
but she just was not. Everybody who has kids who started school in the last couple weeks seems to be sick right now. So,
New
But I
petri
am-
dishes.
but
yeah,
I'm certainly in favor, as my colleague has pointed out, approving something that might be on someone else's property certainly needs to be addressed, and I thank you for bringing that up.
thank you, Mike. Okay, do we have any other questions from members of the commission? Do we have any questions from members of the public? Okay, so, like, at this point, we'd be looking for a motion with, an updated delineation and explanation of delineation. Either a letter from the property owners or clarification from the director of the DPW about either giving the DPW permission to work in the area or with some sort of direction of why they wouldn't need those letters. And then calling out the limit of work. And then also we'll ask Herlin to look at it. Am I missing anything?
Can I just get
Yeah.
one quick clarification? Do you want me to respond in writing to DEP? It's about 50-50 with projects I've over the years had in front of Concom's. Some of the technical reviewers say it's for the Concom to consider and approve. I have no problem sending them something back. I guess I need to know your particular commission's preference.
In my experience, the engineer typically responds, since we've implemented OpenGov, the engineer would respond to the DEP comments in OpenGov. Does anybody else, Mary, when you were chair, how was that typically handled?
Portal or your portal?
That's our portal. OpenGov is
Okay.
our portal where you
Okay,
submitted all of but typically somebody will put a question, say, we have these DEP comments. Can you comment on them? I know that hasn't happened yet. So that's where the comments would come in. There would be some sort of initiation on the conservation end that would ask you to put your comments in, or we have some engineers who actually send a letter, and then they upload that with
Yeah,
their
we can do that.
comments. I think that would work for me. What do you think about, Mary, in your experience? How did that?
I think that getting the letter right uploaded to our portal would be ideal. That way we have a record of what the response was.
Okay,
thank you.
thank you. Okay, so, would somebody like to make a motion?
I would make a motion to continue this to the next one is October 3rd, right?
Believe so. October 1st.
Yes, October 1st. I will make that motion.
So moved?
Roll call vote. Mary
Or
Wilson.
We need a,
Aye.
we need a second?
Oh, I thought you were the second, Mike. Man, my brain is gone today.
Yeah, I made the motion.
You
I'll
made the,
second.
then, all right. Sorry, my error.
I think we're all a little off tonight, Mike.
I know.
Okay, so are you the second, Mike?
Okay, yes, if you allow
Okay.
me to.
Okay, so roll call vote. Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Christine Germain.
Aye.
Okay, so we have continued to October 1st, 2025. Just with you'll be coming back with, and if you need to, if you aren't ready at that time, just send a note to the office so that we
Sure.
can continue. But coming back with an updated delineation explanation, either letters from the property owners or some sort of clarification about how you can get that work done, call out the limit of work, and then also add a letter to the portal with your comments for the DEP. Okay,
I've got.
all right, thank you so much. Have a good night. Bye.
Have a good night.
Good night. Okay, up next, we are moving on to continued public hearings. And pursuant to MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, we have a continued public hearing for 1083 Northfield Road, public hearing on a notice of intent by Tanner Cole for construction of a common driveway to service 4 single-family dwellings to be served by private wells and on-site sewage disposal systems. Do we have the applicant or their representative here?
Madam Chair, Greg Roy with Dilson Roy, representing the applicant. Tanner Cole is also on the call as well. Can everybody hear me okay?
We can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, super. May I share my screen?
Yes, please do.
Okay. So, just a little bit of, history here. We were before you, I think, probably 2 months ago now, but 8 weeks, something like that, to present the, for the continued hearing. We opened the meeting quite some time ago, probably 4 or 5 months ago, actually. And to that end, I think I'll pause there just to make sure that we have a voting quorum here. I believe we do.
We have 4 original members
Okay,
of the commission prior to the previous term starting.
okay, all right.
Madam
Um,
Chair, has everybody been here for all of the hearings? I know I have been here for all of these hearings.
I
I
know I have, I know Mike I'm almost positive Mike has.
that's 4.
Let me,
That's 4.
that's 4, yes.
Okay.
And presumably, I think Rich has been here for the other few, so presumably he could mull in too, if needed.
Yes, if
needed.
needed.
Okay. Hey, maybe you'll approve it tonight. But anyway, I wanted to just give you a quick update, and go over some plan changes that we've made recently as a result of the peer review. So we were here, 6 to 8 weeks ago, to present essentially the comments that DEP had requested. So I mean, I think we're through the DEP comment stage. We'd issued a letter, several months back, and I think we're through that process. At that time, you had asked that the wetlands component of this be peer reviewed. So it took a little bit of time to get the peer reviewer on board, but Ecotech was ultimately hired. Art Allen from Ecotech was on site last Wednesday, I think. It was Wednesday, the 10th, I believe, and performed that peer review. He turned the comments around in a few days. We got them on Friday, and we updated the plans. We've spent the last couple days here this week updating the plans. So I did get revised plans and a cover letter to you, which I'd like to go over. I'd like to go over in a minute. I realize you just got it, but really, we sprung into action right after we got the peer review done. So I apologize for the late nature on that, but I'll go into that in a second. Just one more thing by way of status. The planning board has now approved this as well, and they issued that last week. They issued their approval of the common driveway special permit and stormwater management permit last Monday night. And the key thing to remind everybody on that was that there was a second or an initial peer review done by Graves Engineering, which focused on the stormwater and compliance with the Massachusetts stormwater management policy. So that's all been done. So this project has been now thoroughly peer reviewed, and indeed has a compliant Massachusetts stormwater management system, which was peer reviewed again by Graves through the planning board process, but it sort of dovetails with you. So I just wanted to make sure that you are all aware of that. So I'd like to just briefly go over the findings that that Art had, that Ecotech had, and there's really only 2 significant ones that I want to talk about, that I'll talk about in the most detail, but I want to review all of them. There's 9 points of his review, and I'd just like to bullet those out if I can. There's a letter, you probably have it, we uploaded it to the portal. So there's a letter dated today that summarizes exactly what I'm going to say here. And what we did was we put in, as customary, we put in Art's or Ecotech's comment in italics and then our response below. So I'm going to try to go through this quickly. I know it's a late hour. You guys had a lengthy executive session, so I'll try to be brief here. One essentially boils down to the fact that he requested that we move the replication area from the position on the plan that we were previously showing it, which was sort of in these wedged upland areas, to a point on lot 5 where the existing logging access was, and that makes a lot of sense. It allows us to keep the canopy. There's tree cover in this area that would have to be removed for the replication area, much less down in this location here. This is sort of the laydown area for the logging operation, so it makes a lot of sense. It allowed us to increase the size of the replication area, and so that made a lot of sense. So this is really one of the most significant changes, is the relocation of the replication area. So we essentially revised the plan verbatim with what was recommended by the peer reviewer. So that was comment number 1. And there's detail. I'll flip sheets here. We have a whole sheet, which is sheet 6, that has all the specifications, just like we had before. Again, this was the substance of Art's review. So he's looked at all this, didn't have any comments relative to our specifications, but we've updated this to show the plantings in the new area and grading and the like. So that's number 1. Number 2, at the back of the site, and this was on the previous plan, there's a perennial stream that runs along it's actually the southerly side. I know it's plan right, but it's north is to the left of the page. And he asked that we delineate hang some flags on the actual top of bank. We did do that. We've updated the plans with all the flag numbers, and we've updated the riverfront area, which is shown in blue. And actually, you can see here, we've carried through the superseded line, so you can compare. So we have the superseded line right in here. There's a few points where it got a little bit closer to the development area. In no case are we within the riverfront area with the development. So it's the same result as before. It really didn't impact the project any. 3, I'm flipping around here, but at the front of the site, he noted that there was a culvert that exits here from the street drainage. He asked us to show that culvert. So we have done that, shown it on the plan in plan view and also elevation. And we verified that there'll be no conflicts. It's deep enough in the ground. We'll be at least 2.5 feet above the top of that pipe to the top of the driveway. So we're in good shape there. Again, that's just sort of cleanup item. 4, I apologize here. These comments aren't in order, so I have to keep flipping back and forth on pages. But he asked us to redraw one of the wetland areas down in this location here. We had that kind of drawn incorrectly. Again, it does not impact any portion of the property. It affected this section of buffer, which is not near the proposed limit of work. So. But we have made that correction. 5, on the golf course side of the property, again, way in the back in an area of the site where we're not proposing to do any work, we had stopped the wetland delineation at J13. So we hadn't delineated any of this line here. So we just added some flags there to continue it over to the property line. So again, no inaccuracies with the flags, just extending that line a little bit further and showing those corresponding buffer zones. So we've done that. Again, no impact to the project. Number 6, there was one area. There were 2 flags that changed sort of in the meat of where we're proposing to work. This first one was wetlands flag C15 right here. This moved about 10 feet up gradient. So we've updated that location. It didn't have any impact on the project, just because there's other buffer zones that sort of govern in this area, other 30-foot no touch zones. So it did tweak this 30-foot. We weren't proposing to work anywhere near that in this location. But by the time you got out to the 50-foot, it really didn't have any impact with what we're proposing. But be that as it may, that was one change. the second most significant thing that was, and probably the most significant thing that came as a result of the peer review, is that he identified an area. Let me see if I can do this justice. I think that we had previously cut the wetland right in this area. Sorry, did someone need to say something? Okay. We had initially delineated from wetland flag 11 over to wetland flag 12, and that was the limit of the wetland area. The area upgrading here is essentially a skid road from the a portion of the skid road from the logging operation, and as is common on sites that have been altered by logging, sometimes over time, because those areas got rutted and you know, the wheels of the skidder rolled through that area, they start to exhibit wetland characteristics. And he found that this area here, like this, what needed to be included in the wetland delineation. So we added wetland flags F11A through F11F, which included this area. We shifted the driveway as far upgrading as we could as part of this plan revision. But some of the upper area of this again, it's a skid road. It became a wetland because it was used as an access for the logging operation essentially. Some of it needs to be there'll be further wetland impact here, so we've now included that in our wetland filling calculations. Our new wetland fill for the project is 4,765 square feet, including this area, which is still below the 5,000. And because of the first comment I mentioned with the change in the replication area, we increased the replication area on site, you know, accordingly because of the shift in where we're proposing to do that on lot 5. So there's a slight increase in the amount of wetland that we need to alter, but we've offset that with a corresponding increase in the replication area on the site. So that's sort of the second and most significant thing that came as a result of the peer review. Two more things. There was one additional area that he wanted us to locate but not flag. There's an area up in this location which is off-site that he identified, which had bordering vegetative wetland characteristics. So we did locate that. It's on the plan, and we've shown the corresponding buffer zones. And then the only other item was that he noted that there are no defined streams or bank characteristics within the wetland crossing that would require us to comply with stream crossing standards. But there are a few spots that sort of channelize the flow, if you will, and he asked us to align the culverts with survey locate those locations and to align the culverts with those specific, I'm going to call them rivulets, like areas in there where there's some channelization. So we have done that. We survey located them. You can see the blue lines here. Sorry, I can't. And we've put those culverts right in the location of where those sort of naturalized areas are. That was it. And we sent this to you and to Art this afternoon. I wish it was last week, but we didn't get the peer review comments until late in the day Friday, without any time to do anything with it until this week. So happy to take any. I think that's all I wanted to say, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Greg. Mary, you have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Greg, can you remind us, are you doing 1-for-1 or 2-for-1 replication?
We're doing one at this point. We're doing 1.6 to 1.
1.6 to 1. Okay.
Yeah, and again, we had a previous project where we thought you had caught us. you actually don't have guidelines to that effect. So that's in excess of the state requirement, which of course is 1-to-1. We don't ever dare to do it 1-to-1 because stuff happens, right? But we're at 1.6-to-1, which is a pretty healthy ratio, which is it's a slight deduction in the ratio of what we're proposing before, but it's still in excess of of what would be considered reasonable, I think, for a project like this. And I think
Thank
that
you.
I think
Yeah.
that the benefit of moving the replication area, it was a really good idea because you're going to be able to preserve canopy. It's a much more natural place to do replication. So it was a good comment, I think, by Art.
Very good. And just to say out loud, because there's replication here, then I would recommend that my peers consider doing 2-year monitoring of the site as well.
Yeah, and I think that was a comment by DEP. We don't have any objection to that, and we have a note to that effect on the plan on the sheet 6 in our specifications because it's sort of a standard requirement of the Massachusetts replication guidelines to require at least 2 growing seasons of monitoring. So we have that in there.
Very good. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mary. Now, typically, once you've revised the plans, they would go back to the peer reviewer, and then
Yeah.
they would issue a formal report. Have these gone back to Art
They-
yet?
They did. We submitted them to Art this afternoon. At the same time, we submitted it to you.
Okay.
It would have been magical if he had gotten us something, even in
Yeah.
even in email format. But I think we haven't heard back from Art yet.
Okay. Yeah, that would be very fast. Do we have any other questions from members of the commission?
I don't have any further questions, Madam Chair.
Okay.
And I guess that's really, I mean, I kind of figured you're going to want to hear from Art. I was holding out a little hope that you might that due to the nature of there really wasn't a significant. They found a little extra wetland area that does happen from time to time, but it really wasn't in a site like this with all these wetland flags. We really only moved one flag that we had delineated. So he essentially agreed with 100% minus one of our flags, and then except there's one extra area. So it really wasn't a very significant review. But I kind of figured you'd want to hear from Art. But what I really want to hear is if there's anything else. Like I just want to make sure I get everything else on the table so that we can hopefully wrap this thing up in a couple weeks.
So I do think that this was very thorough, and it does seem to hit all the points that Art had laid out. Do we have any other questions from members of the commission?
Madam Chair, I just wanted to say that this addressed all of my concerns, right? So I wasn't looking for anything further.
Andrea, you had your hand up?
Yes, I noticed in Art's remarks that he mentioned, let's see, it appears that the proposed driveway could be shifted to the east to avoid the new wetland crossing. And I wondered if that was considered at all.
Yeah, great question. We shifted that as much as we could. We have a 1,200-foot maximum common driveway length, and we're right at the limit. So putting a curve in that of too significant of a proportion would put us would put us out of compliance with that 1,200-foot zoning requirement. Be that as it may, we did shift it as far east as we possibly could. So our driveway actually went. You can kind of see there's a bend in this now. So if you come in straight, it comes in straight, and then we bent it up like this. We had it going down here like that. So we moved it as far up as we could. It did save quite a bit, but we couldn't get it all. And in this case, there's some filling there, but again, it's an area of the site that is starting to exhibit wetlands characteristics because because there's essentially been vehicles that were driven in the site.
Right,
And
understood.
that's why it wasn't, I don't think it exhibited those characteristics when we initially did the wetlands delineation on this several years back. So, you know, so we did the best we could. We're still in the compliance with the performance standards, less than 5,000 square feet. We just can't do it any further.
Uh-huh,
But I
okay,
appreciate that question. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. That was a good question. Do we have any other questions from members of the commission? Do we have any questions from members of the public? Do we have any motions or?
I would make a motion to continue so we can hear from our Alan.
Okay.
Continue, what do we decide? October 1st is the next one?
October 1st would be the next meeting. Okay, so do I have a second?
Second,
Okay, roll call vote. Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
aye.
Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
Teddy Doucette.
Do I? Can
Yeah, I
I?
don't-
Oh, right, that's right.
Technically,
Sorry
yeah.
about that.
Yeah, no worries.
So I for myself to continue to October 1st, 2025 and await remarks from Art Allen, the Ecotech peer reviewer on the new site plan.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Greg.
We'll, with your permission, we'll work directly with Art. Okay, great.
All right, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Okay. Up next, we have, pursuant to MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws. Continued public hearing at 560 Mulpus Road. A public hearing on a request for determination of applicability for a ground-mounted solar PV system. Continued from September 3rd, RDA-25-9. Do we have the applicant or representative on the call? Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, so last meeting, we had asked for some updates, and are you ready to present?
Yes.
Gotta put my notes from last time.
Let me see. I'm trying to share. It's giving me a little trouble. Hold on. Share. It's a little different than the typical Zoom. Give me 1 second. It's annoying. Let's see. Apologies, it's not showing me a preview of the screen that I'm trying to share. So I'm trying to share the right one. Oh, because this
Did
is a
you-
workplace, it's asking me to change my settings. Give me 1 second. There we go. I think that will work. Sorry, this is a little different than a typical Zoom. It's asking me to quit and reopen. I'll be back in 1 second.
Okay. All right. And it looks like you're back.
There we go. And boom. All right, I apologize.
Okay.
That made me change some settings. So if you guys remember from last time, thanks for having me back on. Basically, what you guys wanted to see was where the double erosion control would be. And we talked about it being right on this 100-foot buffer line, as well as calling out where the trench would be, as well as the depth and the schedule of the PVC. So it's going to be, this is the solar, the trench is can you see my pointer? Can you see my?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. It is an 18-inch deep trench with a schedule 40 PVC. And then if you see here, there is this illustration for the double silt fence, the double erosion control of the silt fence and straw wattle on the plan. And that was the major thing that we kind of ended the last meeting on.
I want to note that at the last meeting, a question came up, whether an RDA becomes a delineation for 3 years, like an NOI does. And I got clarification that it does
Ah,
for anyone who's
interesting.
interested.
That's very interesting. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Are you done presenting for now, Benjamin?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Do we
Mhm.
have any questions from members of the commission?
So the note that says the fence line along the 100-foot buffer zone is the silt fence? Is that what that
Correct. Yep.
means?
Yep. The silt
Okay.
with the hay bales as well.
Okay. And where's the note about the limit of work?
The what?
Hay bales are a straw wattle.
I think you called out straw wattle last time.
Yes, we asked for straw wattles.
Yeah, sorry, straw wattles. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Include silt fencing and straw wattles.
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, what did you say, Mary? I think
I was
interrupted
asking
you.
about the note for the limit of work.
I'm not quite sure what that is. What are you referring to?
So that's the line that says where you won't go farther than that, encroach farther than that towards the wetland. That's called the limit of work. A lot of times people have the limit of work where the silt fence line is, but that's not always true. But there should be, I actually thought it was something that Rich had pointed out, was that we needed an annotation on the limit of work.
I don't remember that from last time. I will say where we put the fence in, I would, we would do that first. And so then there'd really be no reason to cross that fence line, because we'd be working kind of from the driveway realistically. So but I don't remember that from that conversation.
I actually don't have that in my notes from the meeting. That doesn't mean that it didn't happen. I do have the call out for the straw wattle and the silt fence, and then also the question about whether an RDA.
Well,
Okay.
If the
I don't
applicant's
know.
willing to state that the limit of work is the straw wattles, then I would be okay with that.
Yeah, we can condition it that way.
Yep.
No problem. Absolutely. And we'll put that out first, obviously, so. Be no reason to cross that.
Do we have
Could
any
I-
other? Yep.
Could I ask when the upload of this document was so that I make certain I'm looking at the right thing in OpenGov?
I'm opening, mine says today.
It may have been. Yeah, it was probably earlier today.
Okay.
Mine says today at 2:38 p.m.
Yep. Yeah, it asked the team to upload everything today.
Do we have any other questions from members of the commission?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Wasn't there a question on the size of the PVC?
Yeah, I think he did show that. Is that
Schedule
the,
40.
yeah,
Schedule
Schedule 40 PVC trench
Schedule
line?
40 is a type of PVC. It's not a size of PVC. You can have 1/2 inch Schedule 40, you can have 1 inch Schedule 40, you can have 2 inch, 6 inch.
Yeah, it's typically 1.5 inches on the trench, I believe.
Okay,
For
But
the
I-
electric.
okay. The size, I guess, we'll have to make a note that it's no greater than 1.5 inches. What size conductor is he running? Do you know?
I have to look at the electrical permit. I'm not sure.
What size, what is it sized for? What's the current? Do you know that?
I don't. I wish I was more electrically
Okay. You may be better off saying 2 inch, no greater than 2 inch.
yeah, we could do that. It's a pretty short trench too, so I believe it'd be 1.5 inches, but on like a longer trench with the bigger wire, sometimes it might go to 2 inch. Yeah, that's a good suggestion.
Okay. So the limit of work is gonna be consistent
Silt
with
fence.
the erosion control barrier, silt fence, and then no greater than 2 inch Schedule 40 PVC run in a trench that's 18 inches deep. Okay, no more questions from me. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mary. Do we have any other questions from members of the commission?
When is this scheduled to happen? When's construction scheduled?
As soon as possible. As long as we get through these meetings, we are kind of up against, obviously the end of the year and the weather, frosting and all that fun stuff, as well as the tax credit going away at the end of the year. So we're trying to get this system installed and activated before the end of the year to help the
Okay.
homeowner out.
Okay, nothing more for me.
Okay. I'm just taking some notes. So no more than 2 inch Schedule 40 PVC pipe call out limit of work at the erosion control. 100 foot. Was there one other thing that I'm missing?
Not that I had.
I thought the only other thing was to actually add a note for the, you know, where the trench line was so that it was clear, but it seems like that note's there.
Okay, so do we have any other questions? Any questions for members of the public? Okay, do we have a motion?
I would move to approve, with a negative determination, with the understanding and clarification from the, applicant that their erosion control barrier, is the effective limit of work and that the, PVC, that will be laid in the trench will be no greater than 2-inch Schedule 40 PVC.
Thank you, Mary. Do you have a second?
Second, Mike?
Thank you, Mike. Roll call vote, Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
Patty Doucette.
I was not at the last meeting. Am I a part of this quorum?
Oh, that's right.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, thank you, Patty, for reminding me. Andrea Burnett.
Aye.
And I, for myself, is a motion to approve a negative determination. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
And you too. Take care.
Okay, next we have, pursuant to MGL Chapter 131, Section 40 in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection Act and municipal bylaws, wetlands protection and municipal bylaws, a continued public hearing at 809 Chase Road on a notice of intent by Earnco Development Corporation for the construction of a driveway to serve a single-family home and installation of a water line from the existing well in between the 50-foot and the 100-foot buffer zones. Do we have the applicant or their representative on the
Yes.
call?
I'm here.
Okay. And then if I remember, when you were here last, do you have anything you'd like to share with us?
Sure. When I left here last time, we were lacking two things. One was a DEP file number that we now have, 208-1359. And there were no comments on the DEP letter to us. And the other thing that one of the members pointed out to me, and I appreciate, is that we had erosion control against both north and south of the driveway, but we didn't have it along the other open area that had been opened in previous years. So the erosion control has been added on both west and east side of the construction of the house and septic system, which are outside of the buffer zone. So we've got everything wrapped up there with erosion control, so we should be all set.
Okay, did you, so I was just looking at my notes. All right, so I see your plan. Do we have any questions from members of the commission? Let's see if Herlin has any notes on this one. Does not appear so. Okay. No questions from members of the commission. Doesn't appear. And then you just check OpenGov. There are no notes from our interim agent. Okay, so it doesn't appear we have any questions for members of the commission. It does look like the things that we were looking for are now there. Do I have a motion?
I would make a motion to approve, the plan as proposed.
Second.
Thank you. That's Mary with the motion and Chris with the second. Roll call vote. Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
and I for myself. Thank you so much for coming back with more detail,
Great.
and have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. All right, moving on, we have administrative determinations. And so it's showing 141 Hemlock Drive, but you are 44 Hemlock Terrace, correct? Carol?
Yeah, 44 Hemlock Terrace.
Yeah, I think that where it's an administrative determination, is this is fine, right? So can anyone advise me on that? It is the wrong address. I don't know how it ended up with the wrong address.
It's not an actual hearing.
Right,
right?
so I think that's,
So-
yeah. Okay. Okay, we'll just note that in the minutes. Okay, so, removal of 20 dead trees, which impose an immediate hazard to to your and your neighbor's property. I know that Mary was able to work with you.
Correct.
And, yes, and, would you like to give us an update on where we are with this?
Yeah, so Iron Tree came in today and they were here all day. They weren't able to finish the job. They said they were gonna try to come in early next week and try to get the rest done. I don't think it's gonna be 20 trees. I think they're gonna be taking just parts of some trees down. But they did a nice amount of work today, so.
Okay, and then so at the last meeting, we had asked for a little bit of a more detailed plan of what, we didn't really know exactly what was going to happen.
Mhm.
What really was going to be taken out, but I know Mary was very kind and she kind of worked with you to get a little bit more detail and do a graphic with a little bit of color coding. And would you like to share that, or Mary, would you like to share that, or would you like
I
me to?
can share that, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary, for helping out.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I was, it took a little bit to sync with my crazy schedule, but, hang on a second. I'm sharing the right screen. Okay, so this is what Carol came up with, which it's pretty good. It took me a while to kind of understand her shorthand, and so what I did was I took that, and she walked me all around the property and everything, and I was really, just as one commissioner, satisfied with the amount of work that was being done versus the amount that was being left. And so basically, I just took her drawing and I added some annotation and a legend to it, right? So approximate shoreline, right, and brown, and all of this is in the SharePoint, Lunenburg SharePoint drive for the commissioners in the 2025 meeting content under this meeting, and also under 44 Hemlock Terrace, if any of the commissioners want to see it, or Jenny, if you and Herlin want to move it to, attach it to the actual OpenGov record, just so you know. I circled all the trees that are to remain, trees to remove are circled in red. I also, the screen is the same as the screen, only when I tried to write the legend, it didn't look bright enough. So, yeah, or it was too bright, you couldn't see it. But there's a lot of natural bank here, right? So this property is natural bank all the way down to the water in almost all areas as well. So there's a lot of vegetation that's going to remain in addition to the mature canopy trees, like laurel, look like some dogwood and whatnot, right? Under a lot of natural understory. There's a big peninsula off to this area that is completely untouched, right? So there's a lot of goodness happening here. And I'll just, this is this is from the property map, right? Just so you can kind of triangulate a little bit. I always like to compare. These may go slow. And this is beside the garage, which is the first structure. The garage is over here. First structure that you come to. That's one of the trees that are coming out. All of these are going to remain. This tree's coming out. This tree's coming out. This tree's coming out. This one's mostly rotten and has a branch actually on the house. This one is leaning this way. You can see this tree, all of these are all staying. You can get a sense of some of the underbrush, right, and understory that's remaining. And similar, just a little bit of a wider view to give you some perspective, and that's that peninsula going out. Similar. Close up of these trees, clarity on this tree, also clarity that these trees are remaining, these trees all over here are remaining. Again, all of the underbrush and understory that's remaining on this property. You also get a sense that from this corner to the lake is kind of tight. We guesstimated it at 25 feet. As you come around the house, you can see this one is going away. It's got a heavy list towards the house. This tree's remaining. There are a lot of mature canopy trees remaining down in here. Some smaller canopy trees that are, in good health that will, give us a succession plan on the foliage out here, which is also really good. And this is looking back from where we just came. So again, towards the peninsula, all the underbrush, understory plants. And this is that one that I just pointed out that's listing towards the house and all of the understory. Again, you get a sense of how close the house is to the property. Going back to that drawing that Carol had done from here out to the edge of the peninsula, we think it's about 60 feet. This is about 50 feet. This tree's going away, that tree's going away. This one's really not healthy. All of these are staying. Again, a lot of laurel, underbrush, a lot of habitat staying. It's a little walkway that comes around by the deck. Most of the trees out here are all remaining. This is from right under the deck. So we just walked around from this direction around to the edge of the deck. And these two are coming out again, really tall pines listing towards the house. And a lot of trees staying that, and a lot of underbrush, right? And then, understory trees as well. Looking back, the other photo was taken from here looking out. It's giving you the reverse perspective. This is the garage, right? So basically where I had been looking, turning around and looking past the garage with the beach and water being over this way. This one's coming out. Most of these back in here are all staying, with the exception of this one and I think this one. I think we're basically done with that. Just more of the understory, right? To make certain people got a sense, because that's what I worry about when I look at these projects. Like, okay, yeah, we got to get trees out, but which ones are remaining? Oh yeah, and this looks back. So you did see as we walked around the first couple of photos. So this is looking back. You can kind of get a sense of how much mature canopy growth is staying in place. None of these are being touched. Again, the view of the peninsula. I think that's it.
With your
Madam Chair.
documentation, that thing, the drawing you did with the blue and red,
Mm-hmm.
gave me a really good picture, and these images just reinforce that. So I'm very comfortable with this.
Yeah. Me as well. Thank you.
It's for me. This is great, Mary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I might, when we were here last, we gave her conditional permission to proceed because it was a safety issue, but we asked her to come back with a proposal for replication because we were unclear from the documentation about, whether we needed to have replacements done. Based on what I've seen, I don't think that replacements would even be viable out there. So I would recommend that we not require any type of replacements. That's
I
my opinion.
agree with that based on the pictures that you've shown.
I also agree. I think that the property is well populated with mature trees, even without the ones that are being removed, it's still plenty in there, and the understory is great. I like the shoreline is specifically how it's untouched. Looks great.
Yeah, Madam Chair, as you know, I'm a tree person, but I can
Yes.
understand the conditions looking at the pictures and the plan. Looks like there's more than enough trees to take care of this property, and I too feel replacements are probably not necessary.
Thank you, Mike. Get Mike's seal of approval. Then you're doing well.
Yeah.
Do we have any other comments? Okay, so I guess this is an administrative determination, technically we would approve based on Mary's drawings and the work that's already been done. So approve that the removal of trees is okay to proceed. It's kind of weird because we're already like halfway through it.
I would move to approve the removal of 20 dead trees as proposed in the administrative determination without need for replacement vegetation or trees.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
and well, Teddy, you weren't here. That doesn't matter on an administrative determination though, I don't think. So
Well, you have a approval
with that.
vote even if he abstains.
okay. And then I for myself. Okay. Thank you so much, Carol.
I appreciate all your time.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Pleasure.
Mary.
Have a good night.
Glad I could help.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, we do not have any extension requests. We, certificates of compliance, one is 45 Road 12. Still looking at what's happening with that, but it looks like the only property that's affecting at this moment is the town, so our property owner. And then we have 155 Reservoir Road, but I did check OpenGov for that and there's no update on notes for that one, so and we don't have the applicant here as far as I can see, so I'm gonna move past that. I checked with Herlin on enforcements. She is still sick, but what I got was 199 Mass Ave filed an NOI for remediation, so we do have some movement on that, but nothing other than that was not, I didn't get anything other information than that. Hopefully more next time. Although Herlin will not be able to be at the next meeting because that's when her full-time job meeting is. So, but hopefully she's not sick and we can get some notes. No emergency certifications, new business conservation updates. The MAC sign up sheet did go out for the Fall Frenzy. I see some people signed up. I've asked Michael to get those signups over to MAC because the 101 is next week and then 102 is the following week. And then the MAC convention schedule was sent out for the fall conference. And so I've asked Michael to get the sign up sheet out for that, where people can choose what classes they want to go to. So he'll send out a sheet and it will have all the different options that you can take for the morning and the afternoon. So hopefully that goes out next week. And that's on October 25th. So old business conservation budget, which is now the land use budget. No updates on that. No encroachment issues. Open space and land use. Grants update. Mary, do you, Bob had sent a text earlier, said something earlier, and I meant to follow up and ask what that meant.
Yeah, so yeah, I can add some clarification. So the current grant that we are working under for that was awarded under recreational trails, it closes December 31st, and it had of this year. It had 3 projects proposed, and it was doing the engineering planning work up to the permit approvals for 3 parking areas. Reno, which is putting in a new, proposed to put in a new one. Table Rock proposed to put in a new parking area. And for Cowdrey, the current access area off of Townsend Harbor Road, actually making that accessible. There's a wonderful wildlife viewing platform down a gravel access road, and it right now is just not workable. It's in really poor condition, but it weaves through a wetland. And our engineer has kind of done all the analysis work, had the wetland delineations done, and doesn't really think we would be able to get that work approved. But you know, he's a really busy engineer. His firm is really busy, and you know, probably the next logical step would be to try to get the NHESP folks out there and DEP out there to talk about what, if anything, we could do. But that's going to take some time. And then after we even have that conversation, there would be engineering time. And so we're kind of running out of runway. But you know, one of the worst things you can do with one of these grants is not consume all the money that you've projected to consume. Bob had written the last grant for the town for Concom. I've written the last 2 grants. One of them was under the Lunenburg Snow Riders, and it benefited the town because it was work that was being done all over conservation property. And then the second one was this last one. When Bob and I were talking, he thought, well, you can just ask for an extension. But in the, you know, the training that you have to do to be a grant administrator, they had kind of emphasized to me that that extensions are rarely granted now. And so I have a question out to the grant administrator to see if there's any opportunity to request an extension. And then we'll know what we need to do with this, you know, kind of 3-month runway that we have left in the funding and accessing the funding. And the MULPUS project was probably about 50% of what our grant award was as well. So we need to figure out really quickly. The grant administrator just so happens was out on leave through Monday or Tuesday. So I sent her a note and I got a bounce back, and I'll follow up with her early next week. There you go.
All right. Thank you so much for clarifying that. And that's all we have for the grants updates. Okay. Conservation land improvement, we do have on September 19th, the United Way Day of Caring we have 18 people who signed up to go out to do some trail work at Cowdrey. Chris St. Germain will be helping out and providing some equipment, which is amazing. And do we have any other conservation land improvement updates?
Not that I'm aware of, but I just want to say how awesome it is that Josie Gilchrist had the initiative to create that Day of Caring project under United
Yes.
Way, and how amazing it is that we have so many volunteers that are
Yep.
signed up. And I really appreciate Chris taking a day off from work, because it is a project that's during a work day. And him, working with the Lunenburg Snow Riders to be able to use their ATV to help haul material out on the job site, which will really, really make our volunteer hours go a lot farther. I think that's just awesome.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Lunenburg Snow Riders. Thank you, Josie Gilchrist, and John Gilchrist is her husband.
Mhm.
Who are really spearheading this initiative and brought it to the Conservation Commission attention. So thank you to everyone who is helping out with this and making this happen, because Cowdrey will be much better for it. Okay, Hollis Road residents, I feel like do we have anything we want to add?
I just want to talk about the pollinator habitat, just briefly.
Yeah.
They're going into their fall program, so no more mowing is happening, and the water tanks are scheduled to be turned upside down so they don't freeze in the winter. As you know, we got 3 new tanks from the Boy Scouts Eagle project, so a little bit more maintenance this year. I think one of them has no water in it because it was never really set up per se, but the other 2 do have water, so they'll need to be turned upside down and secured for the winter. And I talked to Bill Bernard and has agreed to help us service the new riding lawnmower as well as the push mower this year. So we're very fortunate to have him do that on our behalf. So I'm very excited about that. And it was a great season. There's still things to see, and we're just gearing up for the next month. So just so everyone knows. And that's it.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Mike,
All right.
for everything you do at the pollinator habitat. It's just
Okay. Glad to do it.
Okay, committee reports. Master Plan Steering Committee. I had asked this to be a separate item on the agenda, but I think we could talk about it now. Teddy had sent out a spreadsheet. Mary put a lot of information in it, and which is amazing, and had sent it out and asked if we had any feedback on it instead of going out over it, one by one through the whole spreadsheet. Does anyone have any feedback on any individual components of the spreadsheet? I thought it was great. I'm gonna start with myself. I thought it was great. I did not have any feedback. I do have it up on my screen if we want to take a quick look at it, or
Why don't you just put it up on the screen just for, if nothing else, it'll be part of the recording.
okay. Okay, let me make this a little nicer. All right, try to make it smaller without making it too small. to. That seems pretty good. As good as it's gonna get, so that people can still read it. Okay, so I'm hoping everybody looks at it. Mary definitely spent a lot of time on this. It's basically just feedback on things for the master. Well, actually, Teddy, do you wanna talk about it since it's your committee?
Sure, yeah, these are on the left-hand column. You can see all the goals that the master plan lays out. And they were just asking basically what each commission that it was sent out to, like what their bylaws and policies were regarding, and if there was anything applicable. Just so that they were uh, making sure all the commissions were at least involved in some way if they needed to be, just to cover their bases. And I just want to say thank you, Mary, for filling all this out. It looks great.
My pleasure. Glad to help.
Mary is like the hero of this meeting. Wow, just doing everything. I have no idea where you find the time. Cause I know I just, it's making me tired just thinking about it.
It was a little bit of work, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot of work. You really got a home run on this. This is just to go, this is everything. So it goes all the way over here. And this was all Mary. So for me, no notes. What do we have notes from anyone on the commission?
I haven't looked at it yet, so I will.
Okay. Yeah, you can always look at it and you could respond, I think, just to Mary and Teddy, maybe.
Yeah,
Chris?
and I'll happily talk to people about what they may want to pass along to the master plan steering committee. Um, as a representative of the conservation committee, I want to have everybody's voice heard.
Okay. I think technically we're supposed to talk about it in a meeting. But as far as this goes, I mean, we'll be talking about master plan, every meeting where you can give updates and talk to people too.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that we're gonna talk about it every meeting, which we do with open space and stormwater. So you'll definitely have lots of time for feedback. As far as feedback on this, yeah, I think that if Chris just sends it just to you and to Mary, that's okay, right? Mary? Or
If
should that be?
yeah, we should be talking about it in open meeting. To be honest with you, right? Doing feedback after if there's more than 4 people involved, even if it's serialized, that would not be consistent with open meeting law.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think, everybody's had a chance to read it. I kind of, I hope there's nothing in here that I tried to stay just really agnostic and here's what the law says, right? Here's what our jurisdiction is or is not without really talking to whether I agree with the initiatives or not. I felt like what they wanted was a regulatory assessment. So I kind of think that now's kind of the opportunity. But it's not like this is going to go to the master plan committee and then they're going to say, aha, based on this, all these decisions are now made. It's informative, like Teddy said, and they'll be taking it, as an advisement, and then it'll be part of their dialogue moving forward. And all of the commissioners can participate in the master plan, as members of the public. Right. So if there's something in there that they wanted to have changed, or honestly, if people go back and read it and there's something they come back at the next meeting, even though it's after the deadline that the master plan committee wanted the feedback, I don't think that there's anything that's, getting etched in granite on October 1st. I think they're just trying to put a deadline out there to try to, herd the cats in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They just want to set the deadline so that so all of the commissions have something to stick to. But well
Thank
said,
God for
Mary.
Mary's able to get it done in time.
So Jenny, maybe the right thing to do is that if the commissioners, can find time to look at it, right, and bring back questions next time, then if there's anything that's we need to change as a commission, and honestly, guys, like I'm not perfect, right? So if there's something in there that I didn't get right, or there's some nuance or whatever, just say, because one of the things that's cool about this job is I learn every time I do it. And part of learning is, exchanging opinions and views from other like-minded individuals. So I love that. So don't be shy about saying, if there's something that might need to be changed or need to be clarified or whatnot. But maybe you can hold it as agenda also for the next meeting, and give people an opportunity to ask more questions or, provide alternate suggestions.
That sounds like a great idea. Okay, I will make sure it's on its own on the next agenda. And then what was it due 10-1, Teddy?
Yes.
Is that okay. So, yeah, I mean, you could share it with them and then we could always, if anybody comes back with anything new, we could always update it. Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be appropriate. They just want something to start with by then, I think.
And then do you have any other updates on the master plan steering committee? Have you?
Our
I did-
last meeting, we didn't have a quorum, so we didn't really have our meeting.
Okay. All right, so I will move on to open space then. Chris, do you have any updates from open space?
Yes, we reviewed the master plan from an open space perspective, so I have seen this, I just haven't seen it from a Concom perspective, so looking forward to reviewing it again. The other thing that was discussed at the open space is, the open space is advisory only. We don't really enact anything, or we just advise. And there was actually a proposal to kick around that we might that can be changed, and they're looking into possibly having a vote to vote. So we'll have to see where that goes in the future. And that really comes down to us being able to, like, if a piece of land comes up and we want to, enact on it, we don't really have a lot of leverage. We just advise. We just send it to we send it to another committee to enact. So they're looking around, they're looking at the possibility, and I don't have the right verbiage. I unfortunately don't have my notes in front of me, but basically changing it from advisory to a committee that can enact. So I'll
Okay,
keep you posted
cool.
how that goes. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Stormwater has not met since our last meeting. We are still working on some of our, working with consultants to figure out messaging and scope of work, but no real updates from Wow, I cannot talk tonight. Stormwater. Okay, do we have any other messages? Do we have any other items that members of the commission wanna bring up? Okay. I don't think we have any public comment because there's no members of the public here. Our next meeting is October 1st, 2025 by Zoom. And I have no further updates. So I'd like to be looking for a motion to adjourn. Okay. I had a, do you have a
So
second?
moved at 10:05 or seconded, whatever is the case.
I think, Chris, did you
Yes.
do a motion?
Yes.
Okay, I thought I heard it. All right, so I have the motion from Chris, the second from Mary at 10:05 PM. Roll call vote to adjourn. Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Chris St. Germain,
Aye.
and I for myself. Not too late considering we had quite a long executive session.
Well, and considering the first hearing was an hour.
I know, I
That
was
was
not
brutal.
expecting that.
That
That
was
was crazy.
very
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much,
Night.
everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good
Good night.
night.
Aye.
Good night.